Okay, I've been teasing this bag for a while. This is the modern Dayfarer Sling. Can you see the logo in the light there? Let's see. See if we can get the light to hit that logo. There we go. Black on black. This bag, dare I say, this might be my favorite bag that I've ever owned. Not necessarily that this is my favorite form factor in the sense that this covers everything for me. I'm not saying that. Just the way this bag looks, the way it works, the way it's built and what it's built from just make me love this bag in a way that I haven't really loved another bag. There are bags that I like. There's a backpack I want to show with you eventually, which is built great, great materials. It's my go-to backpack, but I don't feel about it the way I feel about this. And I don't know what it is. There's something very tactile about this. This is ballistic nylon. So this is, it has kind of the texture like Cordura, but it's, I don't know, it's smooth. It's almost like polished Cordura. And it just looks really nice. It gives a nice texture to it, so it's not plain. Then we have these accent pieces here, which are, I don't even know what this material is. You see this material a lot. This is like the same kind of material that the iPod cases, or iPod, we just went back in time. The iPad cases are made out of, and the same kind of material that in the case for that AirPods Pro Max or whatever the hell those big things are called. It's that kind of rubbery but almost suede kind of. It's just a nice material. It's just nice to touch. It's not something maybe you want a whole bag of, but just having a panel of it here is really nice on the flap, especially where you're going to get a lot of action with this here. The buckle. I had a little trouble pulling that word up from the dictionary in my head. This bottom part almost looks like it's the same as this. I thought it was too, but this is actually, I guess it's rubberized. It's this same material. Let me pull it up close so you can see. See how that's smooth? But then when you look at this one, this has the texture of the nylon because the nylon's underneath. So I think this is maybe a rubber or a poly coating, silicone coating of some sort. And that's the bottom of the bag. So it's to make it more durable. I don't even know where to begin. I love this bag. Maybe I should begin with that. Begin with the strap. So you have these. First of all, the shape of the bag. This is going to be a little hard to do because I can't pull the camera out far enough to tip that up end on end. But the shape of the bag is almost. It's actually rectangular, but with this it becomes triangular, with these flaps, which means that when it sits on your hip or your lower back, it keeps this upright, but then it gives you the advantage of the angle on the straps. So it's really comfortable to carry because of that. And I can throw this in the middle of my back, the middle of my lower back, or I can keep it under my arm. I don't really do a lot with it on the front of my body. I think it's just a little too big for that. But it works great as a shoulder bag. And the strap is connected onto these little wings, I like to call them. But it's connected by these little gatekeepers. So essentially you slide that metal part back. I'm trying to do this in a way that you can see it. And then you squeeze that plastic together and then it comes off. The loop stays there. This comes off. So you can completely remove this strap and use this by the handle, which I will show you in a little bit. This is a nice, durable seatbelt type material. It's on the thicker side for seatbelt material. This is like something you would actually put on a seatbelt. A lot of these bags come with these seatbelt straps and they're very thin. This one is not. For what it is, it's nice and thick. You have a really good slide. It's hard plastic, but it almost looks metal. Actually, maybe it is metal. It's cold to the touch, and plastic is rarely. I think it's plastic, but it feels a lot like metal. And it slides really easy. There's no struggle here. I want to loosen it up, I just slide it down. I can do I can do it this way, make it easy, but generally it'll just move on its own like that. But it has enough grip that it's not going to do it on its own. So while I said I'm not struggling, it does take a little bit of energy, which is good because a lot of times you get these straps and they're sliding up and down, and your bag's too low, it's too high. Pretty much when you put this in the place where it's going to sit, that's where it'll stay until you do something about it. If you're really going to do adjusting, though, you're going to do it on this side. You're just going to pull. Boom. It's got a little minder here, so you can slide that down. Keep that on there from flopping around. And then show you the other side of the strap is also connected the same exact way. And then in the middle, you have this. So, for example, here in the summer in Texas, it's hot and sunny. So I tend to wear a brimmed cowboy hat. And when I wear a brimmed cowboy hat, taking this bag over my head on and off, not so easy. So this comes in real handy. See this little pull tab? Boom. It's just going to separate it right there. Just like that. That's what it looks like separated. Plastic. This part here is metal. And the reason it's metal is because magnets. It's a fidlock. So the only way you open this, if you see right there, look, if I pull up, nothing happens. Pull sideways, nothing happens. I have to pull down and then up. It's complicated at first. It's not one of those things where you do blindly right away. But it's good because then it never comes undone on its own. And once you get it down, it's pretty easy. Putting it back is as simple as that. This is great. I love this. I think all bags should come with fidlocks, to be honest, because they're fantastic. A little bit of water. So that's pretty much it on the strap. Let's go over here to the other fidlock on the bag, which is the buckle on the front. Now, as you can see before we go into this, I installed a Ranger band here because there was no minder for the overlay here, so it was hanging down to about here. Because I don't keep this bag stuffed, so I usually have it cinched up about as tight as it gets, as you can see. And this is the same material. This is that same seatbelt material. So I just put a Ranger band there, and then I have a Ranger band on me if I ever need it as well. But the fidlock here works a little differently. This is a slide to the side. See how I'm doing that? Boom. This prevents it from opening with any motion of the bag up and down. And that's just it. And then to get it back on, you don't have to slide it back on. You just toss it. I didn't even do it. There we go. And these are, look at that stitching there, right here. These are on there extremely, extremely securely. This is actually built into the stitch of the seam. There's no give there at all. It's just stellar design and stellar materials. What else can we talk about before we open the bag? Oh, two things that I wanted to cover. You've got this little bag back here, this pocket back here, which is pretty big. So that's the bulk of my hand. It goes down to about here, and it is that wide all the way to the edge. It goes beyond here. It goes beyond this. It goes to about here. So a little bit beyond the zipper. You've got these little pulls, which are not the same type of material as this flap, but they kind of remind me of it. But they're more textured, so they're actually easier to grab. And these are not, I thought these would be cheap and that I wouldn't want them, and I thought I was going to cut them off and put paracord. These are great. And I think it's rubber, to be honest. I think it feels almost like a Ranger band, but a little bit more plastic. So it's somewhere between a plastic and a Ranger band. One side on the outside. No, are they different? That's interesting. This side here feels kind of smooth, like almost suede-y, but this side here that looks identical doesn't. I'm not sure why. But nice material. But what's great about this pocket is, first of all, you have a YKK zipper here with it's weather coated, and you have a taxi there too. So when you get over there, you can actually tuck that in there. So you're getting some real good weatherproofing on this external pocket. This is the only external pocket that's not protected, but it's protected by this. It opens great because it is a YKK zipper. You've got a contrast gray inside so you can actually see what's in there instead of a black hole. You can put things like your wallet and stuff here because this is the part that's going to be up against your body. So this is like your most theft proof pocket. But at the same time, this is pretty theft proof because somebody needs to open this buckle and then get into what's inside. So that's pretty theft proof as well. But the one feature that I do want to talk about here is one that I overlooked when I was looking at this bag. And it's honestly, it's strange to say, this is my favorite feature of this bag, this handle. So as you can probably tell because of the sheen there that this is a folded over seatbelt material. But then there's some kind of padding in here. It's squishy enough to almost say it feels like memory foam, but I think it's just some kind of rubber or foam inside there. But it is the most comfortable handle. Anybody that makes handles on bags should take a lesson from this handle. I've never used a handle like this on a bag. I never thought I wanted a handle like this on a bag until I got this one, and I started using it all the time just because I enjoyed the experience of picking it up. I could pick it up like this. This is something I would do a lot of times. Just, I'm not going to walk around like this necessarily, but as I'm walking through the house and I grab the bag, instead of grabbing it by a strap, a lot of times I'll just do this or this. And it's so nice. And then when you take those straps off, if you're using this bag in your office and, or office building, you're not going around a lot where you really need the strap, you can take those straps off and just make it almost like a little tiny little briefcase and just carry it like this, which is actually one of my favorite ways to use this bag, which is in that process of using it like this in a way that I've never used a bag before is actually when I fell in love with this bag. I liked it. I thought it was a great bag when I was just using it as a shoulder bag. But when I started also using it like this, that's when I really started to grow my love for this bag. And it's a weird thing. I feel weird every time I say it that I love this bag, but I really do. I look at this bag and it's one of the few purchases in my life that I go, that was a good one. Not that was a good one, but that was one of the best. Like, I am stoked with that one. And it makes me really interested in the other modern Dayfarer products, as a matter of fact. Not so much their backpack, because I think maybe it's overkill for me, but let's go into here and look at what's inside here. So open it up. Remember I was talking about it's kind of still theft proof. Even if they get that flap up and you put something in here, now they got to get the flap up, get the buckle off, get the flap up, then get into the zipper pocket, which is also another YKK. And it's just like the other one. Big, voluminous. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. It has dimension of its own. Well, actually, that's not true. It doesn't really have dimension of its own. It'll come out a little bit. But there's no three-dimensional stitching here. So if you put something really bulky in here, you are going to take up some of the space in the bag. Then as you can see, the way it's connected here, it actually angles up to help keep things in the bag when you open this. It's just, I feel like everything was thought of with this bag. And there's a little light padding in the flap. Almost feels similar padding to what's in the handle, but just thinner. And then we have this, I forgot to mention, all of these in all the pockets and including this large one. This is all ripstop nylon. So can you see the squares? So you're not going to get any big tears unless you actively tear it. You're not going to get one snag that grows. So that's great. What I'm going to do? I'm going to take these handles off while we look to the inside of the bag. because otherwise the buckles and everything are just going to continue to make noise on this table, and it's going to drive me nuts, which means it's probably going to drive you nuts. So you can see a live demo of what it's like to take those off. It's that easy. Okay, that'll help us out a lot. Let's close this up. What's in here is very simple. The reason I bought this bag is because I didn't want something overly complicated or overly big, because I know when it comes to bags especially, or pouches, the size determines what you put in it, not the things that you want to put in it. Because if you take something and you only fill half the pouch or half the bag, you're going to find other things to stuff in there till it's full. So the size of the bag really determines what goes in it. So by keeping this minimal, I wanted something that was big enough that I could put a notebook, a couple small things, and some pens. And at the time I was thinking my camera. I want to just be able to stuff my camera in something. And this worked for that. The Fuji X100F that I have, it fits in here perfectly, because the lens is only that big, so it just drops right in there. So let's take a look. Let me see if I can fold this over in a way. This is going to be the difficult part. So you've got some volume, but not a tremendous amount of volume in here. Once again, I said it's limited. Let's start with these. These are elastic pockets. As you can see, I have 2 packets of pens in here, different colored pens. I just left them in their cases so they stay straight up, but that's about the size of it. I've got that SOG Power Pint in here. You guys wondering what I did with it. This is where it lives. And then this is also great here. See this little bump, little nipple looking thing? This is actually another fidlock. And it actually has a keychain on it. This is a great keychain. I don't use a lot of keys, but when I do go out of the house and I use keys, even if I don't bring this bag, I usually use this keychain. It's pretty simple, just a little carabiner. But then this little guy here is half that magnet. So let me see if I can get it close enough for you to see how there's a slot in it. So this is hard to do through the camera because I'm not lining it up. It just drops in. It works a lot better than you just saw there because I couldn't. The camera's here, the monitor's over there. So trying to line that up by not looking at it was not easy. But when you're not doing it, generally you can kind of just throw it in that general direction and it slips right onto there. And there's room for me to carry a couple extra things in that pocket. This front area is where you're going to carry most of your items, your bulky items. Anything that's not flat. Can you see the dimension there? I'd say it's about, let me see, yeah, maybe about 2.5, 3 inches. It's not a ton. This bows out a little bit, but it'll take that full load up to the size of this. And, you can throw a water bottle in there. You can throw, like I said, a camera in there. This section here, this is the divider. In the back here, this is very thin. This is literally... Here, you know what? Let me show you how thin this is. There's no give on this. So this sleeve, that's it. There's no give here. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, this is not made in China. This bag is made in Vietnam. Or is manufactured in Vietnam. I think the company is German, but it's manufactured in Vietnam. I looked that up before because I think where things are made is important. We should all know those things. So here's a book, hardcover book. Can you see? It's snug. See, it even bunches up a little bit. So it's not really meant for that. It'll do it. Oftentimes I use it for that. But I'm not always carrying a medium-sized hardcover. Sometimes I'm carrying maybe a medium-sized paperback. And that's going to go in there a lot easier. Still a little snug because it's meant for flatter things. But it works. It will fit there. These fit in there quite good. journals. This is a Leuchtturm 1917. Leuchtturm, how do you say? I can't remember. 1917 in German, I forgot. That fits in there just nice, doesn't it? It's very nice, very secure. That's not what it's made for, though. That's a tablet section. That's why it's flat. So when I got it, I was still using this Supernote before I went analog on so many things. This is so dirty. And when I got it home and I saw how tight that was, I was like, oh God, I hope it fits in there. And it does. But this is about the tallest thing that you can fit in there. So it fits. But just barely. I mean, like that fits like a rubber glove. Not like a glove, like a rubber glove. What it's made for is this. An iPad. Which I haven't charged this thing in like 6 months. I hate iPads. That fits in there beautifully. Because that's what it's made for. This is the normal size iPad Pro. Okay? So that's what you're looking at that section of the pouch for, really. It's just flatter stuff. But then on that divider in between there, there's also a zipper. It goes all the way across, which that little plastic thing is in the way right now. I've just got some index cards in there. I'm not sure exactly what the intended purpose of that is. You know, what kind of flat things they expect that you would store in there. But it's a nice little place, you know. You can put Band-Aids in there. Okay, you know, I'm always thinking about EDC stuff. So when I use this bag, what I use it for is when I'm going into town and I'm going to like go to a coffee shop and sit somewhere for a while. So I want the pens to be able to make some notes. I'm going to have a notebook. I'm going to have a book, which probably, now that I just did that demonstration, I'll probably start putting the notebook back here and the book up here. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see if it'll take both of these books. So let's put that journal in there in the back section. Let's just see if it'll take both of these. Maybe I need to read about both of those. And it will. And it will well. Now, of course, I would have to adjust this because I have it tight. But even on the tightest, it'll hold it. It's not bursting at the seams, but that's about as full as you want it. See, it's still flexible there. You're not stressing the bag out too much. Can I still fit something in here? Yep, I can still fit something in there. Let's go back to the front. What about here? Can I still fit something in here? Let's see how much dimensionality this has now that that's full. It does have a little dimension of itself. Actually, more than the back does. Look at that. That's me making a fist. There's my fist sideways almost. It almost can take that. The zipper is going to constrain you, of course. You know, so take for example something like this. I'll show you the thickness. That's going to go in there just fine. Now, when I said the zipper is what's going to confine you here, do you see what I mean? The top is back here, the front is out here. That'll be fine for this case. The zipper can compensate for that. But at a certain point, the thickness of what you put in there will prevent you from being able to zip it, which if you don't mind, you'd still have it pretty safe behind this, even if it wasn't zipped. So for an everyday bag, especially if you're doing stuff like going to coffee shops and reading and writing, maybe you're a novelist, this is a great bag for that. If you're an iPad person, maybe you're doing art on the iPad and you want maybe a reference book with you, or maybe you want your camera and your iPad, this little bag can do it. Or maybe you're a woman and you're looking for a nice purse. This might work as a nice purse. I don't know. I'm not a woman. I'm not sure what qualifications it requires to be a good purse. But this is, I don't know. I love this bag, and I wish you guys could touch the materials of this bag and you could feel the padding and you feel the stitching, because that's really, the pockets and everything is designed well. Everything's great. I wouldn't move anything. I like them exactly where they are. But that's not what made me love this bag. It's really the materials and the thought put into how you carry it. Because once again, that fidlock, that's so nice, but still this. And the thought that, yeah, this one needs to be weather coated. All these little things, that these are flaps to keep the bag against your body upright instead of the bag sitting against your body at an angle so that the straps can be in the right position. All of those things. The fact that, yeah, this pocket back here is going to need a pull because it's not as easy to access. And it's on the back side of the bag, whereas this one you don't really need the pull. The metal works just fine. It's just a wonderful bag. And that's why I wanted to share it with you guys, because I think somebody said in the comments on the video I did on the MDOM pouch, digital pouch, somebody said, thank God, finally somebody did a video that wasn't about alpaca or I can't remember what the other one was. But yeah, it's because we see so many VanQuest pouch and Maxpedition pouches. We see so many of the products over and over again that we start to think that those are the only things that are out there. But then there's stuff like this. You know, these guys, maybe they don't have the money or the advertising to be as well known. But just a gorgeous bag. And I want to show you some stuff here that I'm just noticing right now. See, I was wondering, I'm like, oh no, is it starting to fray? It's not. It's actually just a hangover from the stitching. And then same over here. See, it looks like it's frayed, but that's literally where they cut the material. This is the seam. And then I have like one, let me get it at an angle where you can see it. One little loose string there, but it's not unraveling, it's just just hanging out. So I have not used this extensively and kicked it around and trashed it. As you can see, it's pretty clean, except for this part. But I have no doubt that this thing would take abuse. I mean, ballistic nylon is tough as hell. But it's not just the ballistic nylon, it's the stitching, and I think the shape of the bag makes it very durable. Because as you saw when I stuffed it, even when it's stuffed, it's not putting stress on the seams. It's actually, when you stuff it, it's putting stress here, which is on the fabric itself, which eventually will, you know, go out to the seams. But a lot of times in bags, when you stuff them, it's the stress starts here at the seam. And that's a problem, because that's what's going to make it split. This is going to take a lot more to make it split. And honestly, if you're buying a bag like this, you're probably thinking along the lines, Band-Aid backings, you're thinking along the lines of me. You don't need a bag that you need to overfill. You're looking for a more minimal bag. So this isn't a bag you're going to overstuff anyways. It's just a great little bag. I don't know what else to say about it. It's black. This is the only color it comes in, but black is sexy. You know, the thing about this too is it doesn't look tactical, but it doesn't look corporate. It's somewhere in the middle of those two things, which means that it works functionally as a casual bag, but then it also, you could take this into a business meeting and wearing a suit, as long as, you know, you don't have these little white marks all over it like this, and you would look just as professional. So I think that this bag hits a pretty sweet spot. It hits my sweet spot, that's for sure. So, modern Dayfarer Sling. And they make a fanny pack, they call it an active sling, which is different than this, but I'm damn curious about it. Maybe one day I might order one just to see, because, like I said, this has left such a good taste in my mouth about this company that I'm curious, and I hope they make more products.